Doug Lawton has led them to the world title. He's a trophy addict. This season's collection already includes the Charity Shield too, taken out of Wigan's hands at Anfield.
And Widnes are back in business. Ryan McKebby.
The coach of Castleford is an Australian, Darryl van der Velde. Last season, it was Cass who made the early championship running, leading the way till the end of March. This season, they're coming with a later run of the title. Rugby League Live, it's Widnes versus Castleford.
The title favourites Widnes are on the trail of their third successive Stones Bidder Championship, but with test call-ups, injuries and a series of poor results, they've dropped back off the pace. Outsiders Castleford go into today's game with their noses in front. They're running well, so where should you put your money? Well, it's tricky when the form book keeps flying out of the window.
It was a week for keeping your head down in the Rugby League. Everyone lost their heads at Leeds last weekend. A few sorry seconds, the game itself, the real loser.
Still Coleman and now Devorty. Oh, Devorty makes the break. He's only got one man in front of him, and the pass is good. Is he there? No, he's a bit short, but he's over this time. It's his arm.
A bad result for Widnes, a bad taste in the mouth all round. But all was sweet at Castleford, unless you were a Warrington fan. The wires go down again. 5 defeats in a row. It's classy Castleford who are coming good. Rugby League Live is next for Cass. Rugby League was alive with Wigan tries last Saturday. 8 of them. Edwards to Gregory inside the opponent's 25, which spells trouble. Lucas, oh, beautifully on, and Andy Goodway has a walk-in try. A roaring 40 from leaders Wigan, Featherstone blown away. Down in the doldrums, Salford found a lifeline. It was the matchup of the First Division's 2 bottom clubs. Barrow versus Salford, the survival game.
Salford are 6th. They're the form team, having won 4 out of the last 5 in the league. Widnes a couple of points behind, but the champions are now 6 behind Wigan. Remember, it's only 4 weeks since Widnes became the world champions, destroying Australia's best Canberra Raiders 30-18 in dramatic style at Manchester United's Old Trafford ground. Since then, they've lost 5 out of 7. It's hard to believe, but even the mighty occasionally fall. The poor run has loosened their grip on what would be a 3rd successive league title. Something's up, but what is it?
So we've got a bit of an injury crisis, plus the 6 players who were involved in the test series. It's made a difficult time for the club, really.
Is that the whole reason?
Yeah. I mean, it is very difficult to get anything happening when you've got nobody here. And that's been the case. I mean, there's been 13 players injured, as well as 5 and 6 people in the test squad.
There's been no hangover from the World Club Championship win?
Well, I think there probably was at Sheffield Eagles, but...
That was your first game after,
yeah. But after that, I think we got back to normal, but then the test series started.
Have you lost too much ground to return your championship?
No, we've only lost 3. I mean, everybody else has lost 2. And the season's in that much of a tiz was, with the test series, like a lot of games played midweek, a lot of games put off, that nobody's played the number of games he should have done at this time of the year.
But how important is it you get back to winning ways today?
Oh, we want to win today, without a doubt. We've got to get back to it today. I think we will too.
A Castleford Championship material now?
Well, they were last year, and I think they've improved the side a bit with a few new signings, so they should still be. There's a lot of sides. There's probably about 8 sides in the running this year up to now.
There's no more determined coach in the game than Doug Lawton. He knows the championship race is a stayers event. Widnes approved. They have the stamina, and in Martin O'Fire they have the power and sprint finish too. O'Fire is numero uno, number 1, top of the try-scoring chart. The Hull coach Brian Smith joins us again this afternoon. Brian, it's not just Martin O'Fire. Widnes have other class finishers too.
They sure do. They've got a lot of pace right throughout their team, and particularly in their backs.
Let's take a look at Jonathan Davis.
Jonathan Davis is a great example of that. I mean, he's a player who is very well balanced, speed, has some strength despite what some people say, particularly in attack. He knows how to push a player away. He's got a great sense of attack. He knows where to be at the right time, as does O'Fire.
Is the defensive side of his game strong enough, though?
Well, I guess we can all be critical of that part of his game, and it's a different type of defence that players need to learn in rugby league. I think Jonathan's got the attitude where he wants to improve. He's got a lot of good players around him, and I think it's up to them, as well as Jonathan's attitude, to see that come through for him.
But how near is he to being the completed rugby league article?
Well, I think he's got a bit to go yet, but he's certainly going in the right direction.
Is he physically strong enough?
I think he is. I think he seems to have bulked up, put on a lot of weight in the short time he's been in the game, so his attitude's good.
Let's turn to Castleford. They're very much the form team. Is Graham Steadman their equivalent of Jonathan Davis?
Well, I guess so. They've another player where a lot of money has been invested. I believe it cost £145,000 for him on the transfer market. Steadman's, again, like Davies, is a very strong player, a player with speed, and as we've seen there, does have a little kicking game as well as a long kicking game.
Has he shown his best form as yet?
Well, I believe that a lot of people in Castleford are disappointed with what he's done so far, but he is a class player, or has been a class player for Featherston, and I'm sure if he keeps at it, like his coach will certainly want him to, he can do a lot for Castleford.
Let's quickly look at the workhorses, and in particular Ronnie Gibbs, a player you know well this season.
Yeah, Ronnie's made a name for himself in Australia and in this country as a very determined, very tough player who goes full on for everything he does.
Is he, I mean, Castleford haven't won here for 9 years. They're without Ward and Beardmore today. Is he going to be vital for them?
Well, Gibbs is a player who I voted for last season in my team of the year from all the clubs available, because I felt that his contribution to Castleford was so important. When he left last season to go back to Australia, Castleford disintegrated.
Brian, thanks very much. Castleford, this season's dark horses, but last season they led the title race for 6 months before falling in the final furlong. Their recent run, 4 wins out of 5 in the league, suggests they're good enough to last the pace this time.
Well, I honestly believe we are, Clive. You know, it's a long way to go, and this is probably an important game, but you know, it's we turned with Christmas without a defeat. You know, this year we've had a couple of defeats, but I still believe that it's pretty congested up the top. So I still believe that we can win it.
Everybody says Castleford are too erratic.
Well, you know, that's probably in the past. That's history. I can't do anything about that, Clive. You know, we've got to focus in on this year. You know, last year's history, the year before, that's history. So I don't believe that we're too erratic. We'll come through, and you know, it's important that this game is that we perform well and take 2 points from the game.
Once upon a time, Castleford teams would come to a place like Widnes with a bit of an inferiority complex.
Well, I doubt that's the case today. You know, it's you know, they're a good side, we know that, and they had to be because they won the championship last year. But you know, they can be beaten. There's not too many teams in this competition that can't you know, turn the tables on the top teams, and Widnes is just one of those teams.
Darryl van der Velde, and here's Phil Larder, National Director of Rugby League Coaching, is with us again this afternoon. Phil is already beginning to compile the information on players and teams to assess the performance this afternoon. We'll hear more from Phil later and from me, but time's up, the teams are out. Here's Clive Tilsley.
Thanks, Rob. This series of Rugby League Live started with a Widnes triumph in the Anfield Charity Shield back in August. 3 months on, they're desperately in need of another success today. Still without 8 of their senior stars, the likes of Tate, Myler and Coloto. Widnes tried Jonathan Davis at fullback for the first time today, whilst their pack is strengthened by the return of Richie Ayres from injury and Kurt Sorensen from New Zealand tour duty. Sorensen's appearance in last weekend's test win over France was his final one for the Kiwis. He's retired from international football to give more time to his duties as Widnes captain and coach. Well, Castleford put 40 points on Warrington last weekend, so this team virtually picked itself. Ian Bragger is their newest name, a £60,000 buy from Salford, whilst youngsters Dean Sampson and Graham Southernwood are keeping Test veterans Kevin Ward and Kevin Beardmore out of the front row. Joining them in the trenches today, number 10, Keith England, who won his 4th cap for Great Britain as a substitute in the deciding test against New Zealand. Man in charge is Jerry Kershaw, a Wembley referee back in 1981, when the then Cup Kings Widnes beat Hull Kingston Rovers. It's a bright, crisp, autumnal afternoon, absolutely ideal for rugby football. Widnes here in the midst of their worst sequence of results for more than 2.5 years. But it's worth remembering that they have already collected 2 trophies this season, the Charity Shield and the World Club Challenge Cup. And as Jonathan Davis was saying to me yesterday, when we win, they call us Widnes. When we lose, they call us the world champions. Reputations are hard won, and certainly not very easily lost. And Widnes are a prize scalp for anybody who comes to Norton Park. It will be Castleford in their predominantly amber strip to kick off. Graham Steadman, their standoff half, of whom Brian Smith was talking before kick-off. And this is Richie Ayres back in the Widnes number 13 shirt. He's had a month out of the game through injury. And here's the other man back in action today. In fact, Sorensen not taking the ball. It's on by Mike O'Neill, the Widnes number 11. Maybe the most disturbing aspect of that run of 5 defeats in 7 games that Widnes has suffered is that only one of those matches has been really close. Lee's surprise win here a fortnight ago, the day after the 3rd Test match. Leeds ran in 5 tries against Widnes last Sunday. They are out of sorts. And they're being held by a good Castleford defensive effort in these early stages. Jonathan Davis taken a little bit late after the kick by Martin Kettridge. And the referee, quite rightly, will give the award to Widnes where the ball landed. Jonathan Davis learning the hard way in rugby league. And how late is this challenge? Enough time for Neville Southall to get in the clearance before that arrived, wasn't it? Brian McKebby on the opposite wing to Martin O'Fire this afternoon. Phil McKenzie, see a lot of him around the acting halfback. David Hume, taken on by Joe Grimmer. Ooh, a little ambitious, he had Currier at his shoulder. Castleford have it back with Sean Irwin. And here's Ronnie Gibbs. Brian Smith was very diplomatic in his comments about Ronnie Gibbs prior to the game, but quite seriously, Brian, you were very unhappy about a challenge one of your players last month when you met Castleford.
Yes, I was, and I feel it's my duty as a coach, as our officials did of the club. It's our duty to protect our players if we see something untoward. I certainly have nothing against Ronnie Gibbs. Personally, it was just he was wearing that jersey that afternoon.
Here's Jonathan Davis again. David Hume and John Devereux. Taken on strongly by young David Smith. Here's Joe Grimmer. And David Hume unable to take the pass. Three minutes of the game gone. Rugby League live from Norton Park, Widnes this afternoon, the home of the defending champions. Castleford, the visitors, in possession with their teenage hooker Graham Southernwood. French, Steadman. Little run around between French and Southernwood, but Richie Ayres was aware of it. Steadman. 5 tackles. French. Set up kindly for Brian McKebby. 4 of the 5 witness backs today have rugby union backgrounds. John and Devereux there in possession, the latest convert, number 4. Paul Hume. Now Joe Grimmer's got a little bit of daylight. He's got Kurt Sorensen at his shoulder. Kebby's getting there. Good tackle though by St. John Ellis. Trying to smuggle Kebby into touch. The first real break we've had. Mike O'Neill. Richie Ayres. Support from Devereux, and I think he was thumped by his own man there. Certainly felt it. He's on his feet now, Devereux. He's okay.
I do hope this touch judge is not going to report a Castleford player, because you called it exactly as it was, Clive. There's no doubt that was a clash of 2 players in the one team.
We can see it here. Here's Devereux who gets possession. Now it's his own player, Richie Ayres, who catches him. The touch judge came on immediately to draw the referee's attention to something. Devereux's okay. And Jerry Kershaw, the referee, has penalised Castleford, and that's very unfortunate. He's a very, very conscientious official, and when his touch judge comes on and gives him information of that kind, he's got to act on it.
We coaches spend a lot of time watching videos, Clive. I do hope that the refereeing officials do the same, because I think there's some things to be learned for them at times too.
As the task facing Jonathan Davis, who's taken over the goal-kicking responsibilities from Andy Currier for Widnes this season. Got a lovely smooth action. Watch how he follows through here. Oh, he dragged it in right to left. It was a beauty.
There are those amongst us who are cynical enough to say that perhaps there was some justice in that kick.
This is Richie Ayres, who unloads the ball to John Devereux. This is the incident which led to the penalty. There's no doubt about it that it's Ayres who accidentally makes contact with Devereux. So Widnes are unable to profit. They've had a tackled player held down to play the ball and have another penalty. More and more a part of the rugby league scene, Jonathan Davis. This is David Smith. Paul Hume. Element of surprise going on there from dummy half from Mackenzie, and he's linked with Currier, and Currier's in. Andy Currier gets Widnes' first try, but Phil Mackenzie catching everybody unawares. Currier, the biggest hit in Australia during the summer, making a hit for Widnes here this afternoon, opening their account with 4 marks to Phil Mackenzie.
Widnes are talked about for their pace out wide, but this is the man who keeps everybody honest on the inside. Phil Mackenzie darts away and doesn't go to ground, keeps the ball alive. Some very poor defence, Steadman and Larder, and Courier's quick enough to finish it off.
Davis right in front of the post this time. Yes, the defence is a little shabby. Davis taking every bit as much attention over this simple kick as he would do a difficult penalty, and getting better results this time. Andy Currier, the try scorer, his 5th of the season.
Here's Mackenzie again, sensing the markers both going one way, pushes into a hole, gets his arms free. He's not quite free yet to play for England, but when he is, I hope he's accepted as an English player.
Yeah, just explain the situation with Phil McKenzie, the witness number 9. There's Currier, the try scorer, who is already a Great Britain international. But McKenzie's teammate is actually an Australian by birth, but on September the 5th next year, he will have spent 5 years as a Great Britain resident and will therefore be qualified to play for Great Britain. And I think there's a general feeling within the game that he is the outstanding number 9 available to Great Britain when that happens. His father is Scottish, his son is English, he's here to stay. And on September the 5th next year, he will become officially British. Ball forward. Jerry Kershaw had a long word with the teams about the formation of the scrums prior to the match. Castleford have won this one. Here's Sean Irwin. Southernwood. Kevin Beardmore, Great Britain's first test hooker, is fit again now, but Southernwood's keeping him out of the side for now. Here's Keith England, who came into the Great Britain picture for the decisive test. This is the view that the Widnes defence have got of it now. Steadman has the ball and tries to slip Bragger through with a little kick. St John Ellis across there in the corner, well covered. Important scrimmage. It's the defensive side who've got to show the willingness to bind first, and then French going on, trying to carve away in, as he's done time and time again this season. He's scored so many good solo tries as little Australian scrum half. Joyner. Here's Martin Kettridge. Southernwood. Chance for Dean Sampson, maybe. Held by Currier, was he? Try. Try for Sampson. Castleford reply. And the big, strong prop forward, Dean Sampson, who his coach says has been the team's outstanding player in the last 3 or 4 weeks, gets his second try of the season.
He is a very strong player, Dean Sampson, and he's not afraid to take players on. He's got a great spin, and as you can see here with both Widnes players going high, no one actually stopped his progress.
And look where Jerry Kershaw, the referee, was.
There you see him push off his right foot. Surprisingly agile for a big man is Dean Sampson, and he's very determined and knows where the try line is pushing in really hard. A lot of players would have been pulled down a yard short there.
Have been 1 or 2 question marks raised about the defence of the Widnes centre, Andy Currier, but I think in his defence there, that was purely an extra couple of stones that Sampson had on his side, and pure brute strength forced him through the Currier challenge. It's very difficult to stop a player of that size from that range.
Unless you have excellent technique.
6 points all. Cagey sort of start. Good break by McKenzie, getting Currier in for Widnes. Castleford getting good field position and establishing a foundation from which Dean Sampson was able to crash over. Here's Sampson again. Keith England. Decision given Castleford's way. He's a school teacher, Jerry Kershaw. He knows how to sort out childish behaviour. Steadman, left-footed kick-up. A lot of talent, this lad. An outstanding game for Yorkshire against Lancashire in the unofficial test trial. Sutherwood to Sampson. England. Extra attention. Fifth tackle. Stedman. Bomb. Test for Jonathan Davis. He's come for it and got it. That's really sound defensive play by Jonathan Davis. It's the first time he's ever started a rugby league match at full-back. He's looking at full-back already. Andy Currier. Kept alive for Sorensen. Now David Hume. Mike O'Neill. Richie Ayres. Bad tackling again. Now he has got support. That's Mackenzie on his inside. Ooh, he might just have unloaded a little bit earlier there, Richie Ayres. Very easy game from up here, though. Mike O'Neill. Joe Brimmer. He's a milkman by profession, and he's usually up at 4 o'clock on a Saturday morning. But he took the morning off this morning in view of afternoon events. Hope you all got your milk. Davis. That's one for his opposite number, Steve Larder, who's an Australian. He's also up to the challenge. And ran through another Currier challenge there. Taken on by Ian Braga. The Castleford new boy. Look at this for a break. Good support from Irwin. Couldn't quite get it away to Planch. Good defending by Martin Offiah, the first we've seen of him. And well picked up by Jonathan Davis. Hume. Now, if he can get it wide, he's got two men there. If 16 minutes gone, 6 points all, and one or two chinks of light beginning to appear. The game just loosening up a little bit. Paul Hume. Good ball to Mike O'Neill. Devereaux. He's away. Another slipshod tackle, this time by Sean Irwin. Not so from Sampson. Paul Hume. Kurt Sorensen. Rescued by Phil Mackenzie. Short side, Paul Hume again, looking for Kebby, Larder across the cover, Kebby, oh, I say, what a try, no, he's in touch, won't count, foot in touch. Only got to have a foot on the line, and Kebby must just have been caught there by the touch judge's eagle eye. So nearly. Be a scrum down by the line. Castleford feed, Castleford ball. Sampson again. England. Taken on by Kettridge. 5 tackles. Stedman again. Davis waiting. And that on radar, I think. There's the old Cardiff Arms Park side step. And here's the acceleration. 30 games of rugby league, that's all he's played. Mike O'Neill. He's played a few more. Richie Ayres. Mackenzie again. Paul Hume. Such a versatile player, Paul Hume. Played at 9 for Great Britain, usually at 13 for Widnes, 7 today. Here's his brother David, his half-back partner today. Doug Lawton calls them the Brothers Grimm. Davis again. It's another searcher, isn't it? Larder.
A strong part of Steve Larder's game, the ball in the air. He's very good at it. I think we mentioned before that he's got an Australian rules background, coming from Darwin in Australia.
Ooh, still by Keith England. He's disappointed with himself.
Castleford are in all sorts of trouble here. If they're going to make errors like this inside their own quarter, their defence is going to have to pick up. And their tackle technique is disgraceful at the moment. They're missing far too many tackles.
Kettridge making one. David Hugh. Taken on by Mike O'Neill. Rugby League live from Norton Park Widnes. And the Widnes captain, Kurt Sorensen, could go all the way here. He has done. He is difficult to stop. He was impossible to stop there. Runaway freight train. One of the strongest men in British sport. And Kurt Sorensen puts Widnes back in front.
As I just mentioned here, Castleford defence has been very poor so far. There you see two very high attempts to tackle. Steve Larder rounds him up, but Sorensen shows that at whatever he is, 32, Kurt?
33.
He can still run. He's very mobile for a big man, and if you give him this sort of room, the fullback's got no chance.
If you could choose a man to tackle, though, Brian, it wouldn't be him, would it?
It certainly wouldn't. I wouldn't like to, but that's part of a rugby league player's job. And it's a tough job when you have to stop a player like Kurt on the boil as he was there. But you need to go in twos, one man low, one man high. And unfortunately there they had it all back to front, did Castleford.
So Jonathan Davis with a more difficult conversion attempt here. Real technique. Look at the breathing there, just steadying himself, getting his mind on the job. And they're doing the job. Expression didn't change. There's Kurt Sorensen. What would your mum say if you brought him home? Phil Larder can tell us something about the Castleford tackling, maybe.
Out and supporting the ball well, testing the defence. As you can see, Widnes have missed 11 tackles, which is a lot at this stage of the game, but Darren van der Velde will be very upset with 17 missed tackles by his team.
Castleford have already made 2 successful raids on Granada territory this season. Martin O'Fire trying to ensure they don't make a third. They won at St Helens and they won at Wigan, but they were disappointing in front of our cameras at Warrington 2 months ago. And they've been disappointing so far today. Kebby picked up well by Sorensen again. Ball's already gone to ground and gone forward. But Widnes with a 12 points to 6 lead, courtesy of the tries from Currier and Sorensen. And I think a fair reflection on the game as it stands at the moment. Injury to Richie Ayres, who's only just back after a month out with a thigh problem. Five-man Widnes scrum for now. Gary French making a good break. Tackled by Kebby. Here's Ronnie Gibbs. Hardly seen him, actually.
Took a whack on the head early, Clive. I think he's had a couple of whacks, actually. He seems to be struggling a bit at the moment.
Wait to see when he's fit. Kurt Sorensen penalised. Quite a man. Just turned his back on international rugby now to concentrate on life here at Widnes. He's in a partnership with Jim Mills, another great former Widnes prop forward. They're in the nightclub business. Halton Mafia. Keith England. Southernwood. Taken on by Kettridge. Let's see how this Widnes cover holds up this time. The Southernwood tries to go alone. Joyner. French. A little wider now for Braga. Irwin's there too. Braga's made a break. Good tackle by Richie Ayres. 5 in the try. They've got to come up with something here, and Sean Irwin maybe not aware of the 5 tackles. And a turnover, and Widnes have it back. Paul Hugh.
This is where Widnes themselves get themselves into trouble, I should say, just inside their own quarter. At times, to me, they look as if they don't know how to get out of here. If Castleford can really put some pressure on, they can cause Widnes to make errors in their own quarter and get another chance to attack.
It's always been a Widnes tradition to kick you back down the field. They've always had good and intelligent kickers of the ball, playing your 25 rather than theirs, and here's Davis doing just that. Set up very kindly, though, for Steve Larder. The rugby ball can be your worst enemy on the bounce sometimes. But it was a real friend to the Australian fullback there. Not sure what that was all about. St. John Ellis with the high kick. Belonged on the Moulin Rouge, didn't it? It's a good break by England. And he's got Southernwood in support. And Stedman was up there too. Here is Graham Stedman. And he's got away from the tackle, this time from David Hume, of all people, one of the most reliable tacklers in the game. French. Mike O'Neill doesn't miss many. Oh, and it almost came for Sampson again. And David Hume has got it back. Phil McKenzie. Richie Ayres, now where are the speed men? Davis was there. So is a fire, look at him. You've got to get him in the first 5 yards, otherwise it's curtains. That's better forward play, taken on strongly and well tackled. David Smith and Keith England, the competence there. Paul Hume. Jonathan Davis. Larder again. Heavy. His defence has really improved in the last couple of months. He's worked very hard on it.
Made a nice double there, showing just how well he can read play from marker.
Takes time for a player to learn the professional code. He's another rugby union convert, incidentally, Brian McKevitt. He had terrible luck. He broke his leg on the very day that he signed for Widnes. So his career only really got started at the end of last season. But more of Doug Lawton's rugby union converts come off than don't, that's for sure. Stedman kicking. And here's the duel. Jonathan Davis. Third tackle got him. Do believe there was a smile there. John Devereux, learning his trade. I would think there'll be 1 or 2 rugby union clubs in the area breathing a sigh of relief that Doug Lawton's team are playing today. He's usually watching rugby union on a Saturday. Here's David Hume. Quite sure what he had in mind there. Certainly Kebby didn't read it. And Larder again able to get an extra 10 yards, which he wouldn't have bargained for with David Hume up alongside him. Sampson. Well, let's hear from the man himself. Doug Lawton down the touchline. Pleased or not?
Yes, it's going reasonably well, Clive, at the moment. We could do another 6 points. I think Davis is looking good at full-back, his first game. And Sorensen's setting the game alight in the forwards.
1 or 2 setting the game alight at the moment. What about the general level of defence on the 2 sides at the moment, Doug?
Pretty good, Clive, I think. I think both are working very hard. And it's a bit of a tight game, but there's also some very good football being played.
Doug Lawton, whose side lead by 12 points to 6. Jerry Kershaw just sorting out another problem with the help of his touch judge, Tony Brown. And Castleford have got the penalty. Captain's entitled to inquire what's going through the referee's mind. Kurt Sorensen not bothering.
Well, I think the touch judge got it right that time. I think Grimmer was the first aggressor there. I thought he might have used an elbow. I just can't work out why Mr. Kershaw didn't have some words with him.
England, well met by Smith. That's good defending when a player like David Smith comes right up to the line that Castleford have got to cross in order to make some progress, and meets the player there and prevents him from making progress. Steadman. Well collected by Hugh. Davis again. He is looking good, isn't he? That was a good tackle, though, by Gary French. He hasn't finished it yet. He doesn't mind the little ones, Jonathan. It's when the big ones do that.
Well, didn't Gary French ruin a very good tackle there? He read Davies' step very well for the first time. He hasn't hurt Jonathan at all. Jonathan's having a good smile about it. It's a great tackle. He really sunk his shoulder in. A classic tackle. And then spoils it by jumping up and swinging his arm. Just a bit over-aggressive.
Some players seem determined to make their point against the big-name players, but the big-name players are usually good enough to deal with it.
Yeah, the point had been made.
Boys will be boys. Widnes leading by 12 points to 6. In possession with Paul Hume, David Hume, Richie Ayres. Starting to move the ball well now, Widnes. That was a good tackle. Keith England on David Hume. Ball gone forward. Scrums have been quite tight today. Full credit to the referee. Here's Larder. Ellis. That's just the pass the winger wants. Phil Larder, some more information for us.
Yeah, the key to this game is the missed tackles. As you can see from the bar chart up there, quite a few players have missed 3-4 tackles. Andy Kirrier, top of the pops with 5 missed tackles today.
I don't want to labour this point about Kirrier, but it makes you wonder how he was such a success in the Australian game during the summer. If his tackling is all that bad, his handling wasn't too good there. But it seems almost to be a persecution complex that some people have got about him.
Yeah, I think it can become a bit like that, but it can also be that weaknesses in a player's game can be glossed over sometimes, because many things were going right for Courier at the time. When the worm turns, it sometimes turns very radically.
Hasn't had too happy a time since he returned home. Beaten in the grand final with Balmain, listed at £185,000 by Widnes, and then happily everything coming together, and he's now signed a 5-year contract and hoping he can make a fresh start with the Chemics. Steadman.
Not nearly as good when he has to come off the right foot, Steadman. He's so strong off his left foot.
Ketteridge, who's strong full stop. Here's a talented young player. Darryl Vandervelde wants him to work a lot harder at his game, though. Southernwood. French. Steadman again. And there's that left foot move. And he's got Roddy Gibbs in support. And they've got men over here if they use them properly. It's an ambitious pass, but it's got Ellison in the corner, and Castleford are back in business. Good break. Good score. St. John Ellis gets his second try, I should say, for Castleford. And Roddy Gibbs involved in the build-up.
Darryl Vandervelde might be the most popular man in Castleford at the moment, and certainly not in the Beardmore family. But this player, Graham Southernwood, has caught my eye today. He's a player who's caught a lot of people's eye. He's the one who gets this ball rolling. Steadman with the left foot, Gibbs in great support, and picks the right player to pass to. He had 3, picked the right player, and St John Ellis has been bought for his speed, and he made it work.
Came from York, St John Ellis, a couple of months ago. £30,000 package deal, and he's displaced the experienced Tony Marchant. So a chance now for the Castleford goal kicker Martin Kettridge to level the scores, as Widnes take a little bit of a breather, and Richier's case a little bit of a refreshment. Difficult kick, just in from the touchline. Kettridge. He's kicked it, and we have a tied game again. 12 points all.
I was a little surprised by Dougie Lawton's comments that he thought things were going well. As we saw on Phil Larder's statistical analysis there, 11 tackles in the short period of time we've been playing, 11 missed tackles, that is. It's far too many, and there's a danger sign in that. I feel that both teams really need to pull their defensive game together, but I'll still back Widnes to win if it's a high-scoring game.
5 minutes of the first half remaining. It's Widnes 12, Castleford 12. Rugby League live from Norton Park, Widnes this afternoon. Tries for Currier and Sorensen for Widnes, Sampson and Ellis for Castleford. Both improved. And it's a close one. Here's Graham Southernwood again. Keith England. Bouncing off the tackles. Well, he's got it away to Sampson too. And he's got it away to Southernwood. Good play by the front row until Southernwood popped it up. Scrum down almost in the centre of the field. I see Jerry Kershaw getting Widnes to line up. In fact, it's Castleford who have bound their heads first, and making sure that the binding is the important thing. The feed there has virtually been legalised in rugby league now. Jonathan Davis. That's another clever kick, and he was taken again there by Larder. He's managed to find touch. He won't be too displeased. Scrum down. Brent burying his way out of trouble and into the clear, almost into the clear.
Seems to be a real tactic with Castleford today. French has run from every scrum.
Australian scrum half who, as I was saying a little earlier, has scored 3 or 4 solo tries that have caught my eye this season. Got one against Warrington last Sunday, another against Wigan earlier in the season. Stedman. Bragger is holding on. Sure what Irwin had in mind, but the ball went forward and Lala's going to be pulled back. It's interesting, Castleford have been involved in 7 matches this season where the final score has had 2 points or less in it. Amazing, really. It's 12 all again this afternoon. They love a drama.
Very disappointed with the scrum so far this afternoon. I feel the referees and a lot of the clubs have done a lot to improve scrummaging in the last few weeks, but I feel they've gone back a few steps today.
I look forward from David Hume. Larder making the tackle. Now here's O'Fire popping up in one of those strange positions where you least expect him. Gibbs got a hold of him. I don't think he's handled the ball more than 3 or 4 times today, O'Fire. I think that's about the best news of the day for Castleford so far. Here's Mike O'Neill. Now maybe O'Fire. Away from 1, away from 2. How are you going to stop him? He's surrounded. It's wagons in a circle time. Sorensen. His reputation goes before him there. He's taken a blow to the head, actually. He's down at the moment, O'Fire. On his feet now. Joe Grimmer. Well taken by Jonathan Davis, and a good pass too. Now, what's John Devereaux made of? Went to ground himself, really. 5 tackles. Little kick from Courier. Well collected by Plange. Final minute of the first half. Widnes 12, Castleford 12. Dean Sampson, scorer of the first Castleford try. We will get a little insight into affairs in the Widnes dressing room during the half-time interval. Interesting to hear what Doug Lawton has to say. Such a laid-back character, but such knowledge. There's the hooter, which brings to an end maybe the tightest game that we've had on Rugby League Live in this series so far. 12-12 at the interval. Courier and Sorensen with the tries for Widnes. Sampson and Ellis with the replies for Castleford. Some of the defence has been a little bit slipshod, but it is a very, very evenly balanced game and a very, very important one. 12-12, we'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back. Widnes, the champions, 12, Castleford 12. We've got a tied game here at Norton Park at half-time. Let's go down to the Widnes dressing room to see what's happening just at this moment. Widnes know how important a win is today. Coach Doug Lawton making it clear what he's looking for in that second half. Usually it's in the Widnes dressing room a case of the players motivate themselves. Sorensen, Richard Ayres, they don't look too impressed with what Doug's saying there, but 12 all at half-time. They won't be too dissatisfied, bearing in mind their recent run. Brian Smith, you're watching those scenes now. What do you make of it?
Well, I think the game could well be won by what happens at half-time in there in the dressing rooms, because I think, as by the scoreboard, obviously the game's very well balanced, but also out on the pitch there, I think the game's very well balanced. It could well be determined by which team can pull their defence together best. Castleford have come back into the game with that late try, and I think they're probably on a bit of a high.
Brian, can I ask you, do you think this is the most testing period of Doug Lawton's period as coach for Widnes?
Well, perhaps so. I mean, there's been a lot asked of Widnes of late, and probably of Doug Lawton, because of the number of injuries they've suffered this season. They're missing 6 or 7 players today. They've had players backing up from test duties, as we heard Dougie talk about earlier in the day. And other teams are coming at them now. Other teams have improved and are prepared to take them on. So they're facing a real test, as you say.
Brian, there were 4 tries in that first half, 1 disallowed. Let's have the analysis.
Well, I thought this try here, is one of my favourite players, is Phil McKenzie. I think he's a very underestimated player in the Widnes team. He keeps the defence in the middle on us, so you can't concentrate on the outside players. And of course, Courier's a very good finisher, as many of their players are. But McKenzie's put that try down to him. He's the one who kept the ball alive. Here we saw a disallowed try, a lovely piece of team play by another underestimated player, Paul Hume, playing in his 3rd position. And there's Kebby, there's the way that Widnes break you down in the twinkling of an eye. Unfortunately for Widnes there, Kebby just put a foot into touch. But you close your eyes for a second and you wake up in Disneyland. And here's the player who Darryl Vandervelde has gambled with, leaving out international Kevin Beardmore. Southernwood unloads the ball nicely there. He's prepared to keep the ball alive. Stedman off that powerful left foot. Great support, terrific support from Castleford. And Gibbsy picks out the right. He's got 2 on the inside, 2 on the outside, and picks out the player right on the touchline to really stretch them. That's put them back in the game.
Thanks, Brian. Well, Phil Lord has been monitoring that first half. Phil, what have you got for us?
Well, we've seen a real contrast in styles today. Widnes are by far the most interesting and exciting team in the world. They try to score on every play and from every quarter. But they make a lot of handling mistakes in doing that. And as you can see there, they've made twice as many as Castleford have. Defence is a really important aspect of the game, and you can see there that Castleford and Widnes have made a lot of tackle misses, and Darryl van der Velde in particular will be upset with that, because he plays a typical Australian game which is built all around a sound and solid defence.
Thanks very much, Phil. Just a reminder, Widnes 12, Castleford 12 at half-time. We'll have the second half live after this break.
Rugby League live from Norton Park, Widnes. Widnes 12, Castleford 12. The half-time scoreline tells you all you need to know about this match. Tight and competitive, very close. I feel as though we've just had the preliminaries so far, and this match could really take off. Let's see what Phil Larder's got for us.
Brian has already indicated in the first half that Widnes play a very tight defensive system, and both teams have had possession of the ball an equal length of time, but because of that, Widnes have been able to make 126 tackles to Castleford's 90. They put a lot of people into each tackle to slow the play down.
Amazing statistics when you think that 50-odd have been missed in the game so far. Gives you an insight into how much work these lads do in the trenches. Castleford in possession with Martin Kettridge. Stedman's trusty left foot again. Jonathan Davis waiting. Outstanding first half at fullback. In his rugby union days, he played the odd game at fullback for Llanelli when they were blooding new talent at fly half, but it really is a new position to him. Martin on fire. Off to John Devereux.
That's the best chase Castleford have made in the game so far. They might be going to lift their pace and lift their defensive game in this half.
Here's Grimmer. Smith. Good tackling. Davis to kick. Larder can take that on the full. Here's St. John Ellis. Nowhere to go. Heavy and Courier holding. Paul Hume completing the tackle. Here's Beefy England. Not difficult to know where he gets that nickname from. Sampson. Now here's Mackenzie, and here's Devereux. John Devereux. Is this his first try for Widnes? Yes, it is. Big moment for John Devereux. Another successful conversion from rugby union for Widnes. His first try in rugby league. And it could just be the key score in this match.
Earlier we saw a missed tackle cause Castleford to be behind, and this time it's an error in attack. Sampson getting a so-so ball from Stedman. Lovely hands, and Devereux can really motor. Look at him go. Look at him fly.
Bad mistake by Castleford. But punishing mistakes, that's what this game's all about.
And it's Mackenzie who was very alert. Some players would have just taken the tackle there, but Mackenzie knew he had a two-on-one outside him and gave the player with the pace the ball.
Devereux finding his feet. He's still living in a hotel locally. He hasn't moved into a house yet. It's all very unsettling. He works for Wimpy, so he's managed to get a job up in the northwest in Manchester. But that will have helped him settle in no end. Try by a Welshman. Conversion attempt by a Welshman. Effortless. It was almost a chip.
Out of turn 4 into 6.
Suffering from a heavy cold at the moment, Jonathan Davis. He was telling me he was into the old ginseng to try and cure it. Fry's balsam's obviously gone off the list of cures. So Widnes with a 6-point lead again. 18-12. Kurt Sorensen. Courier. Here's Grimmer. 50th appearance for Widnes this afternoon, Joe Grimmer. Sorensen unable to collect Mackenzie's pass, but certainly the two hookers, Phil Mackenzie, the Widnes number 9, and Graham Southernwood, put in a lot of good work on behalf of their teams, coming head-to-head now in the scrum. Braga. Seen a lot of him on Rugby League Live this season. It's his third appearance on the programme, two with his former club Salford. There's Southernwood again at dummy half. Dean Sampson. His father, Dave, was actually the coach of Castle before Darryl van der Velde, now at Doncaster. There's Southernwood again. England. Stedman. A little high from Grimmer, right under the referee's nose. And he's been penalised. Very graphic illustration of what Joe Grimmer did from Jerry Kershaw. Grimmer says he's sorry.
Not half as sorry as Stedman is.
Just a loving embrace. Actually, seriously, it's a very, very important time in British Rugby League for coming to terms with the head high tackles, as Shane Cooper and Paul Moriarty will tell you. It's no laughing matter, is it, Brian?
It's certainly not. It's an area that the judiciary have shown that they're not going to put up with it. If a player's sent off for it, he's going to be punished. I mean, that player is almost 6 feet tall.
This is the way to punish him. Kick the point. And Grimmer's being... Ooh. Now, Martin Kettridge wants another look at that, I think. It's been ruled wide. Wasn't too far away. Jerry Kershaw confirmed his touch judge's opinions. He had a good face-on view of the kick. Grimmer's got away with it. Southernwood. Sampson. Stolen by Grimmer. Stolen out of the tackle. Scrummed out, the ball must have gone forward.
I think the referee has ruled there that Grimmer has pulled the ball out at the same instant that the referee has called the tackle.
Larder. Ellis. Here's Southernwood again. Tackled by Richie Ayres. Pardon me, Mike O'Neill. Here we see it again from the point of view of the Widnes defence. And Dean Sampson, you wouldn't want to take him on, would you? Kettridge. Now, who does that belong to? Belongs to Gibbs. Belongs to Plange. Belongs to Larder. Irwin.
Great tackle there by Widnes collectively. 3 or 4 of them killed the ball to force a turnover under a great deal of pressure.
Sorensen.
This is where Castleford must punish them. They must really push them and hem them in this quarter. Force an error to get back into the game. They're just not the same team when they're in their own quarter.
This is good stuff, though. This players now running with a bit more feeling. Defenders ready to box their ears a bit. Davis to relieve the pressure. Steve Larder. Kebby and Currier doing their jobs again. Ellis. About a Currier tackle. Quite from the textbook, but effective. Braga, nice idea. Good play again by Brian McKebby. Just fumbled it on the ground, but he did his job well then.
He did indeed. He showed quite a bit of courage to get down there on that ball with feet flying everywhere. Just a little unlucky perhaps to fumble as he was picking the ball up.
10 minutes of the second half gone. Widnes leading by 18 points to 12, but Castleford in possession, or they were. Davis kicking through. Devereux in pursuit. Sean Owen back there. Long way for the Castleford forwards to come back. Flange trying to give them a bit of breathing space. Could get a bit more than breathing space. Ellis into touch. Well into touch. Mackenzie, who else, across with the tackle.
Again, showing his mobility. He's a modern-day player. He's a man of the modern era, is Mackenzie. All over the pitch.
David Hugh. Davis in the line. Oh, what a break. What a player. Marvellous stuff from Jonathan Davis. All the way. That is class. First class. Who said he wouldn't make it?
Widnes are great from scrums because they've got so many people given a one-on-one chance, which scrums do, who can beat you. There goes Davies, one-on-one with Larder, off the right foot, on with the accelerator. St John Ellis, no, just not enough pace. A great chase, but a one-on-one, beautifully balanced piece of skill by Davies.
Warp speed factor 6. And that's the end of the story. As soon as he deluded that first tackle, you could close the book on it. Now get your breath back and just kick this conversion from the touchline, Jonathan. Breathing a bit heavily, isn't he? I tell you, there's no substitute for class. And Doug Lawton has come up with another absolute gem. Doug, you'll have enjoyed that, I think.
Can you hear me, Clive?
Doug, I can hear you. What about that from Jonathan Davis?
Yeah, that was a bit special, wasn't it, really? As soon as he broke the first line, I knew he was in then. And he's kicked the goal to boot. He must be looking favourite for the man of the match, I'd say.
When are you going to get him in a fire in a race?
Still a long way to go yet, mind. A lot of hard work to do, because he's looking like a good side.
Doug, when are you going to get him in a fire in a race for us? It's a question he's been dodging ever since he signed Jonathan Davis.
I'll back a fire to win the race, but I'll back Davies to win the man of the match today. He's got that well and truly wrapped up.
And more to the point, Widnes are now 2 scores ahead, 24-12. Castleford have made a substitution. They've got big Kevin Ward on in place of Dean Sampson. Larder. Braga. Flange. French. Here is Kevin Ward, who, had he been fit, would have almost certainly been in the Great Britain front row for the start of the Test series, but he's had a strange stomach problem. I thought it was an ulcer at one stage. Stedman. Ellis. Well, he did well then to run away from Kebby, but suddenly he saw Kurt Sorensen blocking out the light. Must have wondered whether he'd done the right thing after all. Well collected by David Hume. First Division Player of the Year last season, a player's player. They're the people who appreciate David Hume. It's the work he does. Here's Devereux. Now Martin O'Fire, almost the first time. Richie Ayres. Paul Hume. It's his Widnes. Good stuff.
I think the writing's on the wall here, Clive, for a big score. I think Widnes are really starting to hit it.
Here's the man of the match candidate, Jonathan Davis. Look at that at the bottom. No errors, no missed tackles. And they're the most important figures for a fullback. Davis was up in the line there. That's interesting. They've kicked behind him. Fortunately, Widnes have got Martin O'Fire's searing pace to get them out of trouble. Now you've got a problem if you allow him any open field at all. He's got Kebby in support. Look at this. Devereux. Still Courier if he needs him. He's still got Courier if he needs him. Well, he did need him. Terrific stuff, though, again. Paul Hume. Mike O'Neill. They're buzzing now. Mackenzie back there. Well stolen, though, by Ronnie Gibbs. Oh, and he might just have got Stedman away here. Davis has got to make a tackle, and Davis makes his tackle. He was the last man then. French. Ketteridge. England. Critical time for Castleford. They've got to get back into it now. Larder. Ellis couldn't collect it. Wasn't the best of passes. Thrown under pressure. Say a little prayer. Scored a couple of tries against Castleford for York in a pre-season game. Darryl van der Veld saw enough to sign this very pacey young winger. Referee just having a word with John Joyner, the Castleford captain. Seen something off the ball. Very earnest and meticulous official, Jerry Kershaw. He it was who sent Steve Hampson off for the tripping offence the day after his Test match dismissal a couple of weekends ago, and I don't know if Steve will agree with me to this day, but I felt the referee was totally vindicated when I saw the film of that. It was a meaty tackle by Joyner on Kebby. Grimmer. Running into Kevin Ward, though. 32 now, the big Castleford number 15. Still one of the most feared prop forwards in the world game. Mike O'Neill. Sorensen. So strong. He can play too, he's a real footballer. Five tackles. Davis. Larder, going to have to be sharp. Not there. But look at the chase, look at the cover. Nowhere to go. There's Kevin Ward. He's had all sorts of problems recently. A hernia operation this summer and these stomach cramps early in the season. Still got a lot to give. Stedman. Always liable just to make a half break. If you can get in support of him, there's nobody there. They didn't read him. Southernwood. 24-12, Widnes lead. Castleford in possession. Remember, Castleford led the championship race right up until the last week in March last season. What a tackle that is by Mackenzie. Turnover on the 6th tackle. Sorensen. Ayres. Hume. Sorensen again. More and more a factor in this match. Almost got it away to Currier. Beaten down by Ellis, went forward. But Castleford, after that terrific start to last season, won only one of their final 10 games. And Widnes swept past them and are now chasing a unique hat-trick of titles. And premierships too, for that matter. We're midway through the second half, and they have a 12-point lead, Widnes. And the feed at this scrum. And they've got a penalty too. Scrum infringement. Jonathan Davis coming across to get involved. Can't kick at goal from a scrum offence. They call it a differential penalty, so you kick to touch and now have possession here, just 10 yards from the Castleford line. Joe Grimmer. O'Neill. Big moment this for the Castleford defence. They can't afford to allow Widnes another score. Devereux couldn't collect that, it's gone forward. And Castleford have regained possession, but Irwin's gone into touch. Be a scrum down. Norton Park the venue. Widnes the defending champions, leading 24-12. Ayres going on there, little move at the back of the scrum. Fire waiting in support. Andy Currier. Jonathan Davis in the line. Ryan McKebby, one-on-one. Kebby around the outside. Good tackle by Steve Larder. Very important one too. If he'd missed that, it would have been all over.
Larder showed him just enough, gave him just enough rope. The angle was right, but by gee, Kebby nearly got there anyway. He's got real pace, hasn't he?
French going on again from the base of the scrum. Castleford have made a second substitution. Here's their first, Kevin Ward. Widnes have got the ball with Andy Currier. More and more errors creeping into the Castleford game now. That was a loose one from David Hume. David Flange, not sure to speed himself. Gibbs. Braga. Running straight, running strong. Stedman at his shoulder. John Joyner. Seen too much of the Castleford skipper today. There's David Hume again. Sweeping up, doing the spade work. Getting it back. There's Grimmer. There's the other Castleford newcomer in the scrum cap, number 14. I say newcomer, another very experienced former Great Britain international, Tony Marchant. Paul Hume doing well. 5 tackles. Mackenzie. Now, was he tackled late there by Gibbs? I fancy not. Flange. The big Australian deserved the benefit of the doubt there. Although Phil Mackenzie might differ. Steadman. Braga. Ellis is up there. 3 to beat though. Didn't get past the first. There's Tony Marchant. Great Britain international back in '86. He's a winger really, but he's doing a stint in the centre. Now, was that high from Sorensen? No, play on, says the referee. Kevin Ward wants to pick a personal argument, and Kevin Ward's the man who's been penalised. Jerry Kershaw was very clear then. Keith England down, victim of the Sorensen tackle, but the referee was close, said play on. Keith Ward wanted a whistle of his own, Kevin Ward, and he was penalised. I think that's fair enough.
Well, I'm not sure that Keith England would agree with you.
John Joyner just pointing out the distress that his teammates in. Bob Smith's the man with the magic sponge. There's Darryl van der Velde, the Castleford coach, standing up. His second season in charge. He's a former second row forward himself, you can see from his build. Now, Brian, your verdict.
Well, I'd rather have my head on at the moment than Keith England's.
It's a good chance for me to pass on the best wishes of the Widnes camp to another injured player, Amosi Koloto, who is recovering from a neck operation in a hospital in Barnstone Wirral and watching the match on television today. It's about 100 yards from where I live, actually. You can take the dog out for a walk later on, Amosi. He's out of hospital tomorrow. David Hume, Mike O'Neill. A bit of needle there at the moment. Rivers lost it. Oh dear, now that was unnecessary, and here we go. Well, it's been boiling up. But this sort of thing just can't happen. It can't be allowed to happen.
A lot of players have just run into that, and they've really done nothing. It looks a bit ugly when players run in, I know, but I don't think there's been a punch thrown there, perhaps with the exception of Grimmer. And Mr. Kershaw's dealt with him.
Grimmer's going to the sin bin for 10 minutes. It's how you interpret the pictures, though, when they're seen out of context that bothers me, Brian. You see still photographs of 26 lads on the back page of a newspaper. It's not good for the game.
Well, it's not necessarily good for those who print them either, because some of those who print and run the cameras and commentate on it make a living from it. We've all got responsibilities to the game.
And that was what started it. Kevin Ward. Widnes down to 12 men, don't forget. Steadman. Grimmer, who had a stint in the sin bin at Leeds last week. Fracas. 12-man defence. Ketteridge. Castleford have the penalty. They've got to go for 6. Kevin Ward. Almost there.
Great low tackle, Mackenzie.
Joyner. Held again. Mike O'Neill doing the necessary.
Another great tackle.
Southernwood, French, England. Really has been a tremendous rearguard effort by the Widnes 12. Well, the crowd aren't too happy about that. 6 more for Castleford.
Desperate times, they've got to get something from this.
It's first down and goal. And they're in. Southernwood from acting halfback. Castleford back in the game. And Graham Southernwood, who's been one of the Castleford stars this afternoon, gets a really vital try for all them.
He's a clever little player. He senses that Widnes is still on the ground, drives very low underneath, and despite the tackle, he's there.
And look at the referee's arm in shot. That's how close he was.
They've had 8 or 9 tackles in a row here, courtesy of a couple of penalties from Mr. Kershaw for players ripping the ball out in tackles. Widnes were prepared to take the chance on the penalties, and in the end, Castleford made it count.
Didn't need to see daylight, did he?
He's a tough young cookie, this guy too.
Martin Kettridge to try and reduce the deficit to 6 points again. He's missed it, and that is a very important miss because it keeps Widnes 2 scores clear at 24 points to 16. There's Graham Southernwood. His brother Roy's also at Castleford. He's in the A team at the moment. Graham's rather overtaken in this season. Still 8 points in it. We're into the last 9 minutes of the match. Widnes still down to 12 men though. But that double burst of scoring from their Welsh stars, Devereux and Davis, all important in the early stage of this second half. It's giving them something to hang on to. Well, look at David Plange. Oh, he had Larder inside him. Southernwood again. Ellis, the winger, waiting. Ooh, need the ball though. Widnes and Castleford, very little between them throughout this match. Just that little bit of class that Devereux and Davis showed, class and pace, opened up a gap. It's Castleford. They've still got to work very hard to close. But they've got the ball. And here's Graham Steadman.
No wonder the Widnes players were protesting there. St. John Ellis knocked that ball on. That should have been a Widnes feed. There's no doubt about that. That could be the turning point in this game yet. This game's not dead.
Yeah, he certainly spilled the pass into touch. Joyner. Ketteridge. Now Plange. Little kick. Didn't come off for him. Davis back there again. David Plange almost in. Although Great Britain international, they're everywhere you look this afternoon. And here's one of the future, I fancy.
It's not over yet. There's more Castleford attack to come here, and they're stretching a 12-man defence and really stretching it.
Now or never for Castleford. Larder, element of surprise. Now can Davis beat him to it? Yes, he can. He's done nothing wrong.
But again, a well-placed kick and worth the chance. Davies' alertness there has perhaps saved Widnes from an even more tight position. And it's still on, the pressure's still on. Here comes another set of 6 from Castleford.
Davis with a drop out from beneath the post here, and he'll kick it back into Castleford possession to get as much distance as he can. Kettridge underneath it. A little bit further to go this time. Dougie Lawton down on the bench. It's all about defence now, I think.
Certainly is, Clive. He's certainly under the cosh a bit here. I'd like to see us have the ball for a few chattels. We've not had it for about the last 36. And we're definitely under the cosh.
Here's Kevin Ward. Southernwood is engineering everything. Joyner with a longer ball. Kettridge out wide. Good tackle again. John Devereux made that tackle. And John Devereux might just have reclaimed it there. And fires back there. And Doug Lawton's got his wish.
There's the break they needed. Now they've got to make that count.
Full marks to Devereux for forcing it.
But Castleford should be fresh, you see. Their defence here should be very strong. Perhaps force an error. Perhaps force a short kick so that they can get back in there again.
Yes, they haven't done any defending for a while. It's the tackling that takes it out of you in this game.
Widnes are playing smart here, though. They're really chewing up the clock.
Into the last 5 minutes. Good break by Mackenzie again. Those yards are precious. 8 points in it. Widnes leading 24-16. And Davis now just to thump it 60-70 yards. Oh, and Larder's spilled it, and that could be a costly error. David Hume, fires there waiting.
Great tackle by Plans to trap the ball on Hume.
Carrier. Open field. Brian McKebby took it on the half volley. Good run. Straight into Marchant though. Mackenzie. David Hume couldn't gather it. Graham Steadman's got it back. I can't believe that we're going to get through the last 4 minutes of this match without Martin O'Fire having some say in matters. He's down at the moment. He's played against Castleford 5 times in his rugby league career and he's scored in every match. This is his 6th and he hasn't had anything remotely resembling a chance so far. He's up on his feet again. French, ambitious. Ellis caught that one. Saw off Kebby. Braga. Just over 3 minutes for Castleford to score twice. Crossing. Widnes penalty. Keith England running in front of John Joyner there.
That's the game. That's the game. Now they've got that wrapped up. They'll chew the clock up here and let nothing go to chance. Grimmer's about to come back on.
There's the biggest certainty of the day. Jonathan Davis, the outstanding player on view this afternoon. He's a very personable young man. There's nothing of the star about him until you see him play. Widnes are back to full strength. Joe Grimmer's back out there. Served his sentence. And this is the end of the field that Widnes want it. Oh, fire. Here's Sorensen. Fire sticking close to the action. Been frozen out a bit on the wing. Davis saw what he could do. Now they've got to give him 5 yards breathing space after he's collected it. He's knocked it forward. The pressure was there. He was aware of the stampede. And Larder couldn't collect it.
Interesting today, Clive. I think statistics will bear me out. We haven't seen one penalty today for a player being inside the 5.
Just reclaimed by Paul Hume. Richie Ayres. Final minute. Joe Grimmer. Is this the day that Widnes come out of their slump and reassert themselves in the championship race. It's been a tough one for them. Here's O'Fire. Mike O'Neill. David Hume. It was a little bit risky, really, in the circumstances. I'm sure that was altogether necessary. Playing as if they're 8 points behind, not 8 points in front. It's great to see, though. David Hume. That's how close he is.
Great tackle, Larder there, saved the try.
Paul Hume couldn't smuggle it away. They actually lost 8 matches in a row in the spring of '87. They've had their bad times before.
Some great defence by Castleford there. Even though they've lost this match, they showed quite a bit of pride to keep them out there.
But as we tick into stoppage time, Widnes have met the Castleford challenge and seem to have come out with the points. But here's Joyner and Ellis trying to manufacture something. Big tackle for Davis to make here, and true to everything that he's done this afternoon, he makes it. Still trying. Southernwood. Steadman. They need 2 scores, though, don't forget. Plan just got one of them, I think. No, he's dropped it. Been so little to choose between these two sides. But again, I hark back to that period early in the second half when John Devereux and Jonathan Davis scored blinding tries for Widnes. There's Davis. And that little spell has just made all the difference.
Quite rightly, as you say, Clive, I think that's been the big difference. They've created some chances and finished them off as probably only as Widnes can. Castleford have created some chances, but some poor handling, a couple of pass selection, perhaps to the wrong player, has been the difference in the game.
Deep into added time. Widnes leading by 24 points to 16. Still so many good players, the Milers and Tates and Colotos and Pikes to return. But a lot of very good players out there. Richie Ayres, successful return to action for him this afternoon. And there it is. Widnes have won, 24 points to 16. The maestro, the man of the match, Jonathan Davis, outstanding performance from him. Widnes are back, and we'll be with them in their dressing room after this break.